I don't know.
Yeah.
They made it a lot smoother though with the last patch.
What are things that you would like to see incorporated in this game though, so that we can tell them about that? Like ranked, I think everybody
wants ranked.
a ranked
Yeah.
queue.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just need more people though.
And like
Exactly.
that's
They just
understandable.
even if they don't do ranked queue, do it so you have a duo queue and then you have a 5 queue,
Or
so that
MMR.
you're like, because 5 queues should find 5 queues and not
yeah.
like singles, because
The
like
problem is,
anybody
there's
can
not
admit
gonna
that's
be
like
that
just
many
not a
5
fun
queues
time.
queuing up at a time. Like 3
Yeah, but
different
even-
groups of 5
even
queuing
still,
up
if
at a
you're a
time,
5
which means one group has to sit there and wait.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the risk you take as a 5 queue, like find somebody to scrim in the custom match. You know what I mean? Because that's you know how many people have probably quit this game because they played either like one of the 5 teams just trolling around.
Yeah, it's
Like-
like new players that ended up
Yeah,
in the game.
yeah.
HEV,
And they're just like, well, this is a fucking great game. It doesn't feel very smooth, and on top of that, these people are fucking tearing my asshole apart. Like, I just don't see it. I just don't see a lot
What
of.
are relays, guys?
What a really. Why did that Catwoman just hit me with a rock from out of nowhere? Where did my HP go? Like, oh shit! And then she does it 9 more times.
And
Okay,
you
well,
know-
I guess
you know,
we quit.
our favorite word for players who are new to this community right now is potatoes. I've seen that used multiple times by 1,000,001 different people, and you know, I think
I
somebody
call them
explained
Randy's.
it.
I have a little more
Yeah,
respect.
I
call
think
them
somebody
Randy's.
explained it best in the stream chat that they did last week with the community chat, was when it was like whoever has the best bag of potatoes wins the game, and you know, that's kind of what it feels like when you think about it. It's
Like I can't play Coast City solo queue. Like Coast City lasts way too long, and as like I don't know who you say were the junglers on your team, man. Show maybe they have the same
Ease
feeling as me.
and Ammo, yeah.
Trying to solo queue Coast City.
There's no junglers.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to solo queue Coast City as a jungler. Oh my god, that makes you want to. I don't even have hair, and I want to rip it
Yeah,
out.
you need to get
When the-
like,
when the
you need to
queue-
get a tri queue going before you want.
Yeah,
to
I
play
don't-
some
I don't
shit.
queue
You're like,
solo
this is
queue.
just. I need
If
to
I don't
have
have
me
either
and another
of them, I'm
jungler
gonna try,
and then
I
a
go
solo
Gotham
queue.
Heights. If I want
Yeah.
to play this game alone, I'll go to Gotham Heights. I don't give a
I gotta say, I love getting raged out by asking if anyone else is jungling with me. And they're just like,
Yeah.
double jungle? That's awful. And it's
double jungle.
And,
That's
and you
That's
know,
a good
that,
one. man.
That,
That's what
that
they.
is also a part of our job, though, is to get the meta out there so that people understand it. But I don't feel like that's an issue anymore. I feel like all of the competitive players, we're doing our part in the streaming aspect and trying to tell people what we want. But
yeah.
a lot of us feel like nobody's paying attention.
Well, I think there's like a flood of new people all the time, so it's like
Yeah.
it takes like a week for these people to acclimate to like how this game is not League.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
as much as we don't want to accept it, Gotham Heights is still actually the significantly more played map. Like, queue up for Coast City and
yeah.
Gotham Heights in the middle of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Nine had a
Agreed.
20-minute Coast City queue today. I was getting Gotham Heights queues in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My longest queue this morning was like a minute 45.
and then you get in
So
the gosh,
many more people play Heights.
Yep.
you get 2 people in the Heights, and you're like, well, this was great. Like, I guess we'll just 2v5 it and knock out these new people that Dan just gave beta keys to. Like, it's like I feel like a shitter. Like, I just feel like
Speaking
I have
of,
to
like,
play attack speed Ivy or some shit when I go into
you
that.
know,
Like,
speaking of the whole 2v5 situation, AFKs have been cut down a little bit. I don't think I've seen as many games as where you join. You know, it used to be if you solo queued,
oh, you
were
4v5.
guaranteed to
It was a
4v5.
It was a 4v4 after a little while, though.
Yeah.
Almost always. It's just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck did this spiral into?
And I mean, I think that's been fixed in the whole situation of
Get better.
i-
Potatoes
it's
are
getting
growing up,
better.
dude.
Exactly.
Can't pull them off the vine too early; they stop growing.
I'm pretty sure potatoes aren't on a vine.
Grow the ground.
Bro, it's like a whole vine. It's like a whole vine, bro.
Okay, you know what? Come to
One
think
big-
of it, I have no idea how a potato
Yeah,
works.
it's like
They
an
could- they
underground
could be on a
vine.
vine.
It's like an underground vine. It's
Yeah.
a series of roots that they all connect to.
So they're roots,
Um,
not
Roots.
vines.
Roots,
so-
roots underground. Same
More
as
like
vines
a series of
underground.
two.
what is
Series of
everybody's
two.
you know, so far, like, our biggest complaint towards competitive gameplay is balance issues. Agreed? Like, there needs to be more feedback between the players to the devs or to the Turbine community in general about what we want fixed versus them just randomly fixing stuff, and we feel like it came out of nowhere without anybody talking to anybody, you know? And the
feel like-
whole point of a game being in beta is that, you know, like, is for them to take our feedback. That's why you have beta testers, you know? It's for the game, for the players to tell you what needs to get fixed and stuff like that. And there's already, you know, groups of established teams, you know, us, our 3 teams in here being one of them, you know, Vex, KGO, whenever they decide to come back up, that kind of stuff. And, you know, Turbine's getting better about listening to the community and stuff like that, but it's still an issue of when you tell us something. I feel like everybody in here agrees on the whole aspect of when we're told there's going to be a balance patch or a tournament's pushed back because of balance issues, we expect balance issues. You know, if you're pushing a tournament back because of quality of life changes, then tell us tournaments are being delayed because of quality of life changes. We're fixing the lags and the crashes. You know, is that an agreed upon statement from everybody, sort of thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that just goes with what we can't talk about. Like, say everything that you're gonna do and do it.
Exactly.
I think the big thing that's going to happen with Turbine is that the competitive scene will ride a wave every patch where we are like, well, this is what's broken now, and that's what's going to show up each week at MLG, and then that'll be nerfed next patch, and then the community will always stay a patch behind itself, so they'll be playing shit that's about to get nerfed the day it's getting nerfed. You know what I mean? Like how Shazam, like you see a Shazam every game now. Like every solo queue game I play, I'm like, well, there's a full power damage Shazam. Thanks, Telly. Thanks for ruining the community with that shit. Fucking asshole. You could have just kept that shit a secret. Played it at MLG.
So what are everybody's thoughts on what needs to be added champion-wise? I think everybody agrees we need more carries in general, blasters and ADCs, because there's not enough. There's not a spectrum of carries that you can play to change a meta yet.
You have the safe marksman and you have the aggressive marksman. You have the safe caster, you have the aggressive caster.
About that.
It just
love
sucks.
Catwoman Prime. I love Catwoman Prime just to play in solo queue because she's just a fun player, like hero to carry with. But at the end of the day, like 80 blasters do not work in 90% of MOBAs because they suck comparatively. Like why would we play her as the blaster when I could play Joker?
Yep.
Like what? The only thing she's decent at is like, all right, we're gonna have her be the peel bot lane, and then that's all she's there for is the knockdown. And with Harley coming out, it's like, okay, no, we really don't need that bitch down there. Because either you build her tanky for a knockdown, so she can just knock down a bunch, or you build her full crit, and then she's just like, well, if I get caught out even the slightest, I'm fucked. Or I have to cartwheel for days. I don't know. I just don't think...
And even with the full crit build,
yeah.
Like, you're spinning the wheel every game, or every fucking queue. It's like, alright, I'm now close enough to be counterattacked. I pray to God this queue crits. Yeah. Oh God, it didn't. I'm fucked. Or it crits, that person just lost 85% of their health. GG, I'm the best. I'm
gonna Zeiss goggles and just go cartwheel crazy and fucking pray for the best.
On the subject of like...
Oh, by the way, secrets probably should get this out for the devs. If you take Atomic Wonder Woman's super speed on Catwoman Prime and just start cartwheeling with two people with Zeiss goggles, it's kind of retarded. The amount of damage and times you can technically go through somebody is kind of dumb. It's kind of really dumb. Especially against potatoes, you can just literally cartwheel kill 3 people at once. Like, it's fucking retarded.
It sounds hysterical.
Hang on.
It's absolutely hysterical. Who was it? Me and Mega Zero were talking about it on Hafu's stream like a month ago, and he's like, is that still there? And I was like, I didn't even know that bug existed. So I tried it, and I was like, yep.
Wait,
you can just move through. You can get it on anybody with enough speed to go back and forth through somebody.
Oh, Atomic Wonder Woman's super speed? Yeah.
You just run back and forth through somebody, and
you can hit damage with it multiple times.
The damage doesn't stop. It just...
Back to the question of how we feel about the blasters and the AD, though.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of in a good place. Like, they need minor tweaks, but I think the real thing that needs to happen is there needs to be more choice. Like, it's all good to say that Green Lantern and Joker are still played in like every game, but that's because there's nobody else.
And even Green Lantern, like I don't think you guys play him very often. I don't see
he's worse off than he was because he got nerfed, but I don't think he's necessarily in a bad place.
The thing
Like
about him,
I still see Green Lanterns do well.
I think like the thing about him is like with Joker's mobility plus the stun on Q and the fact that Joker's ult, even if you kind of sloppily put it down, you still have this 5 seconds of fucking damage that people are like, I don't want to go in there. Whereas like Green Lantern, if you just evade it, it's like, okay, well that guy's done. You know, like there's no real. I don't know. I just don't think his ult is as good as Joker's, and Joker.
Green Lantern is
has
easier
a
to
much
counterplay.
better-
And
Much
Joker
easier.
is more like Joker puts out better numbers while being easier to stay alive on. Green
Mhm.
Lantern needs
Yeah.
the perfect situation to fall into his lap, and if it doesn't, he just hits the floor.
I think every time Green Lantern uses this spell, he should get a little faster, myself, and then he wouldn't suck so fucking bad because you could just start stacking.
Hey,
beads.
wait, did you just say Green Lantern sucks?
You haven't seen our team play Green Lantern. Green
I
Lantern
just
is
don't-
in
He
a
doesn't-
completely balanced
He doesn't
position.
suck. Green
He
Lantern
doesn't
He,
suck.
sucks.
Sucks.
he anals Flash, alright? Let's just put it at that.
If Green Lantern has a safe enough early game that he can actually get ahead, he just starts chunking people. Like nobody can get close enough to him to kill him. But he absolutely needs the safe, easy early game, because if he falls behind, he not only stays there, he drags his team with him.
Oh my
But his ult will
foreshadow.
never be Joker ult, in my opinion. That's the problem.
Yeah, but he can just do more damage than Joker at any point outside of his ult.
GS can speak now.
I can talk.
Yeah.
I think Joker's team fight is better, but GL's dueling is better. So that's always been how it is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think it's still the same.
And also because item choices, Green Lantern can actually chase people. Well, Joker can't really chase people at all.
Joker can chase. Joker.
Like he has a
can
gap
definitely-
closer, but it's definitely not as good as Green Lantern.
That's true.
We just got a good question from Crashy, but we've already answered it. There's no lack of diversity in items, Crashy. Like, or there is a lack. Sorry. Like everybody feels that, and we all agreed upon this, that there are certain builds, and if you don't build those builds, you're not going to be viable.
Your champion has their perfect 6 items. You may build them in a different order every game, but you're gonna have the same 6 items in your inventory at the end of the game.
Exactly.
The only
God help
exceptions
you
are
if you
like,
pick the wrong augments.
you know what? I really can't think of an exception.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, but I can't.
That's
come up
how
with a
Green
single one.
Lantern.
I think
Atomic
the
Wonder
only
Woman
exception
can
comes
build just
from
damage.
it comes from I know I build different than 9 in the aspect of depending on who I'm playing against, I will either build Atomic Axe or Joe Chills or Velocity 9. That's probably the only difference there. But
Doesn't Zeiss goggles with V9 and Joe Chills give you? Doesn't it give you?
part of that build?
Doesn't it give you 90? No, but I'm wondering, isn't it
like
90%?
Yeah, it's like
With
Is
the
it
85.
Zeiss,
85?
with the Zeiss mod for 10%
With
more
the Zeiss
crit, yeah,
mod,
it's
yeah.
like 85% crit
Yeah.
with those 3 items. It's
Ridiculous.
silly.
And-
Because like when I go troll mode in solo queue, I don't even like you don't need the attack speed on Catwoman Prime, but it is just fun to guarantee a crit every time. Like
But-
it's just
But
fun.
see, the issue there is it's not that the ADCs are overpowered in the aspect that they have 85% crit, because a tank will still run in and he will crap all over you. You can't do anything against an Enforcer or Bruiser who has built health and damage. You've already lost that duel. Like, if you don't start running, it's over. The only overpowered thing about that is somebody who doesn't build defense items, that ADC will then 2 or 3 shot them, depending on who it is, if they have no gap closer with CC. And I feel like that's where the issue
Doomsday.
comes in. Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's where the issue comes in, that there's no like gray. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like how in other MOBAs and in other different like Dota and League, there's always a gray line. Like you can build either straight tank or you can build straight damage, but there's also in between items, such as like Sunfire Cape is a really good in between item because you can build Sunfire Cape and Brutalizer on League, and you have a viable of damage and health. Whereas on this game, there isn't that in between. Like I was saying, like Lobos feels like that's the only item that gives you the necessary utility to become that in between character, and that's built on jungles. So, yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah, I
Emma.
agree with AMO.
Yeah.
I
go
also
ahead and
think
talk about
I
that,
also
Emma.
think putting cleanse when they put cleanse on the belt. I thought that was kind of dumb too. Like,
oh, the what
You
is
took
I mean,
the
I-
belt?
the QSS